All right, the last thing we need to talk about today is reference angles. Reference angles, easiest way to remember them, is the distance from the x-axis. All right, so again, if we think about our unit circle, we are trying to find the distance from the x-axis. So we're going to do a couple different examples really helping us figure out what is the reference angle, and then what are the trig functions that go along with it. So let's go ahead and start with example number 1. We are going to do 225 degrees. All right, so if we think about where that is, 225 degrees. Well, here's 180, so it's going to be past that. So how far past it? Well, the best way to think about it, since again we're trying to find the distance past this x-axis, is just take 225 and minus 180. So we're at a 45 degree reference angle. Okay, well, once we think about a 45 degree reference angle, then we can think about where all those points are. And we know that a 45 degree reference angle has the square root of 2 over 2. And the square root of 2 over 2. Now, because of the quadrant that we are in, we know that we've moved left and negative on the x-axis and down and negative on the y. So it's a negative and a negative. So if I have to find all my trig functions, I'm going to find the cosine of theta, I'm going to find the sine of theta, and the tangent of theta. All right, just as a quick reminder, cosine is x, sine is y, and tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine. All right, so let's go ahead and find these. So we know that cosine is our x value, so we'd have negative square root of 2 over 2. Our sine would also be negative square root of 2 over 2. And tangent, well, we would have negative square root of 2 over negative square root of 2 over 2. Negative divided by negative is positive, and those are exactly the same fractions, so 1. All right, so there's our first one. Let's try a second one. We are going to do example number 2 is 120 degrees. All right, so where's 120? Well, 120 would probably be right about there-ish. How far is it till we get to 180? Oops, sorry, 120, I can't even draw. Let's erase that. 120 is back up here. All right, so how far is 120 from this x-axis right there? Well, 180 minus 120, we're at a 60 degree angle. So if we think about that 60 degree angle that we have right here, we haven't gone very far on our x, we're going up a lot on our y, so we would be at negative a half and positive square root of 3 over 2 for that point right there on our unit circle. All right, now that we know what that is, we are going to find the cosine of theta, the sine of theta, and the tangent of theta. Okay, and again, x, y, y over x, sine over cosine. I write this a lot just to help you guys remember. All right, so let's see, cosine, we'd be at negative a half. Sine, we'd be at the square root of 3 over 2. And on this one, we'd have the square root of 3 over 2 over top of negative a half. All right, when we have a fraction over a fraction, we flip and multiply. All right, our 2's are canceling out. Looks like we have negative square root of 3 for our answer. All right, last example. We are going to do, our angle is 330 degrees. All right, so where we are on 330, if I go all the way around, well, I know that 360 is going to end me up back where I started. So it's 30 degrees shy. So my reference angle right here is 30 degrees, or another way to think about it is 360 minus 330, because again, 360 brought you the whole way around the circle, and that gave you 30 degrees for your reference angle. All right, pieces that we need to find: cosine of theta, sine of theta, tangent of theta. Again, the gentle reminder is x, y, y over x, or sine over cosine. Okay, well, at this point right here, we've only gone 30 degrees, so we know that our x is bigger than our y, so that would make our x square root of 3 over 2. It'd make our y a half, and then keep in mind that you went down on your y, so it'd be negative a half. All right, cosine is your x, so square root of 3 over 2. Your sine is negative a half. All right, so when I find tangent, that means I'd have negative a half over top of the square root of 3 over 2. Again, flip and multiply, so now I would have 2 over top of the square root of 3. 2's are canceling out. All right, so it looks like I'm at negative 1 over top of the square root of 3. Please remember no radicals in the denominator, so we are going to rationalize this guy. So we have negative square root of 3 over 3.